In what feels like a very insane turn of events, I am at WNBA All Star Weekend as like an official creator. And in about 10 minutes, I am going to the WNBA All Star 3-point contest like rehearsal. They're having a bunch of us creators actually rehearse the 3-point shot. I think that's what's happening. Tonight is the 3-point contest as well as the Shooting Stars contest. And so I think what we are doing is essentially rehearsing that same event, but as much less talented basketball players. So in like 10 minutes, I'm gonna go play in the Wintrust Arena, which is what an insane sentence. And I'm gonna bring you along, so let's do this. Also, let's pray that I can still shoot a 3-pointer because I'm actually not positive. I'm actually kind of nervous. They were like, do you have basketball experience? And I was like, I do. Some time ago. I can still dribble. I was gonna work on my jump shot and I just didn't end up having time, so it's okay. But we're all gonna just pray that the next clip in this video is not me absolutely embarrassing myself on the WNBA official accounts. Okay. This feels actually insane, but I am about to play on this court. Okay, so basically the way that this works is we are going to be the stand-ins for the actual WNBA All Stars, who will later on tonight be taking this court for the 3-point challenge and for the Shooting Stars competition. So they're going to assign us different actual WNBA All Stars, and we're going to stand in for them, which is scary because whoever they pick is someone who shoots much better than I do. So. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so a couple of reactions. Obviously, different outfit. I just got back from the All-Star game, which was a totally different scenario, so this is not live directly after I got off of the court. However, this was a really cool experience, and honestly, probably one of the cooler experiences of the weekend, if not the coolest for me. I do have my thoughts on how the All-Star game itself, which I just got back from, as you can tell by the outfit change, how that went, but that's a different issue. For this Shooting Stars rehearsal, I kind of expected us to run through this one time, and I wasn't super clear actually on what we were doing when I said I would do this. But it ended up being really interesting from the point of view of a filmmaker. For myself, if you don't know, I went to film school before I started talking on the internet to people and talking about sports. So essentially what we ended up doing was standing in for the players for a camera rehearsal. So as you saw, we were running the Shooting Stars competition like a number of times. I expected that we would run it maybe once or twice. I swear to God, ran that at least 6 times, but my friend thinks that we did it 7. Our rehearsal for the Shooting Stars competition, I think, was actually longer than the actual Shooting Stars and 3-point contest event. And that does seem a little crazy actually, but essentially what we were there to do was to be stand-ins so that all of the cameras could practice what shots they were going to have of the players ahead of actually running the game. So instead of having the players come in and do a camera rehearsal, they actually just had a bunch of content creators do it instead. So if you didn't watch the Shooting Stars competition, essentially what the concept was, which I will say I thought was cool in concept, was that we had 4 teams made up of 3 different players. Each team had a player who's currently in the league, and then they also had a younger player, a player who's still in high school, which was actually pretty cool because this whole weekend there has been a youth tournament, like a Nike tournament in the same kind of location as All-Star Weekend here in Chicago. They're literally playing in the same convention center that WNBA Live has been in. So it's been kind of cool to see this younger generation of players are getting to watch WNBA All-Star Weekend at the same time and kind of seeing what this could look like for them if things do work out. So I did think that that was a really cool element of bringing in a younger player that wants this to be their future and getting to let them play on the actual kind of world stage. And then the third player who made up each team for Shooting Stars was a WNBA legend, so someone who had already retired. What we did as content creators was pretend to be players and then run through the actual kind of way it was going to work at full speed. Now, is my full speed a WNBA All-Star speed? I would normally say no, but I'm gonna show you what the actual competition looked like in a second, and then you can see and judge for yourself. The cool thing about this rehearsal was the fact that nobody has ever done a Shooting Stars competition before, so all of us got to do it for the first time. time and kind of work through this new format. This was the first time that the WNBA has used this format, and they used it instead of the skills competition. So we were sort of the like guinea pigs for this, and we got to help kind of mark it out and figure out what was going to work, what wasn't. I will say a bunch of it was really confusing. So as you saw from the footage, there's 7 points on the court, and it's a half court competition, and each person in the trio had to take a shot before you could move to the next point. So you start at point 1, which is just an under the basket shot, and then you progressively move further and further away from the basket until you end up at half court. I did like that this brought in a couple of different shots. Instead of just having a 3-point contest, you got a little bit more going on. But I will say that overall, as someone who got a chance to do it like a lot of times, the format was really confusing, and we had to keep kind of telling each other, okay, you have to roll to the right, you have to make sure that you wait until we go to the next spot, and then we have to keep moving as a group to actually get all the way there. And normally I would say that that's confusing because we aren't professional athletes, but it really did seem like the actual WNBA All Stars were also confused by this system. There were a couple of points that made it really confusing. I think point 1 was that you had to stay in that position until everybody had made their shot, and point 2 was remembering which direction to roll so that you didn't get hit by the next person's pass. The passers stayed in one spot on the court the entire time, and then basically if you rolled left in most of the spots, you would get hit by the ball for the next pass. So you had to roll right, but then not move to the next position, and then wait for everybody to go through, and then remind them to roll right so that they didn't get hit. And then also if you dropped a pass, it was just a disaster. So I think there were a lot of kinks in the system that we definitely saw as we were helping with this rehearsal. And also one other part of it was that once you got to point 6, which was like a baseline jumper, you also had to remember to roll the opposite direction because now the pass was coming and would have hit you in the face if you roll right. So it's a lot of moving pieces for a competition to learn, and also for the cameras to be able to follow and make sure that they're getting everything going. And also, again, we were moving very fast. This was like a full basketball practice. All of that being said, like the confusion from the format aside, I thought it was so cool to get to be WNBA All-Star kind of stand-ins and run through this competition before anyone else got to. And yeah, it did fulfill my dreams a little bit. Like while there was no chance I was going into the WNBA, I did play basketball in high school. I did idolize Lisa Leslie. Like I thought it was really cool to get to be on the court and do that before the other WNBA All-Stars did. It felt really fun. It felt really exciting. It was really cool to see the behind the scenes of how these rehearsals work, and to see how live television tries to prepare for something that you cannot prepare for, which is live television, and to be a part of making all of that work. Like to be a part of that rehearsal, to be a part of helping like make sure these camera angles are going to work, to make sure that they all get a run. And yes, to run through 7 or 8 times, as many times as possible. I was so tired and my legs hurt. A couple of other notable moments. I do not know what basketball players do with their hands when they're being interviewed. We also did the mock interviews. We were like standing there pretending to be the players that were getting interviewed by Holly. And in that, I literally was like, what do they do with their hands? What do they do with their hands? I literally was sitting there and I asked someone next to me, I was like, what do WNBA players do with their hands? We all settled on either like hands clasped in front of us or behind us, but I felt so awkward. And maybe it's because I talk with my hands. Like I know I move a lot when I talk, and we were just kind of pretending we were giving fake answers from time to time. But yeah, I did learn the WNBA stance, but I'm not even sure it was the right stance even after watching it and watching the real All-Stars do it. Overall, having participated in the actual building blocks of this competition, I do think it maybe was a little too complicated to introduce in this format. I loved the idea and concept of bringing these 3 generations together as we were celebrating 30 years of the league, but personally, I would have rather have found that done in a way like through the standard skills competition, because I think it would have been more interesting to watch having seen it all come together, and also having like watched them get confused in the same way that I got confused on the court itself. All of that being said, it was so cool. I will never get to play on a court like that again. I was sweating in a lot of places, like behind my kneecaps. Didn't know that that was somewhere. I did know you could sweat there. I play hockey, but it was a lot of sweat and it felt congealed in the knee pit. You know what I mean? And I am really grateful for the experience. I think it's like a once in a lifetime thing to get to play on a WNBA court, to get a chance to really be a part of a broadcast in this way, even though obviously you guys didn't see me, but it wouldn't have been possible without me. So you're welcome. I will say, if you watch those clips, unfortunately, yes, Lisa Leslie did teach me how to do a layup when I was a kid. And yes, if she sees this footage, I know she's going to be disappointed in me. She may not remember me until she watches the layup and goes, God, I know I taught someone better than that. So let me know, did you tune into WNBA All-Star Weekend? Do you have any questions about what it was like on the ground here? Were there any legends that you really wanted to see missing from the Shooting Stars competition? What did you think about the Shooting Stars competition? Would you have liked to have seen the skills competition instead or in addition to? Do you think that they'll keep the Shooting Stars competition? Do you want them to change it or try something new or go back to something old? Do you think I have a chance of lacing my shoes up again and becoming a professional basketball player? The answer is no. But that's okay. I got to live my dreams for exactly an hour and 30 minutes, and that's enough for me. Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know any questions that you have about WNBA All-Star Weekend, and I will answer them in another video. And be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any more behind the scenes, very cool opportunities that I somehow get to do for a living. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.